So I was just looking at this latest data about the Indian smartwatch market, and one thing really surprised me. Because it turns out people in India are buying less and less budget smartwatches these days, while the demand for high-end smartwatches has actually gone up. That's crazy, right? Right? Well, I guess it was kind of predictable since most cheap smartwatches in the Indian market, especially from those local players, have forever sucked at things like health and fitness tracking. Even the latest budget smartwatches from a couple of big name brands like Realme and Motorola were pretty disappointing, if you ask me. Which means, like I always say, if you want to stay on top of your health without spending too much, you should get a fitness band instead of a cheap smartwatch. Always. That's why today I'm going to be talking about two of the most exciting fitness bands of 2026. So on one hand, I have the newly launched Huawei Band 11 with me, which costs 4,000 rupees in India, while I have also been wearing Samsung's Galaxy Fit 3 that sells for 3,000 rupees on my other hand for a little over a week now. Actually, I also have a third secret fitness band with me that I'll be talking about at the end of this video, so make sure you follow along till the end. Oh, and to make sure you have a pretty clear idea about which one's the best for you, I will also be comparing these two across different aspects. So now let's begin. Alright, I want to start with their designs, and honestly the Huawei Band 11 and the Galaxy Fit 3 look very similar. Both have a rectangular body, a physical button for quick navigation, and plenty of colorful strap options. They're also both super lightweight, so I never felt the need to take them off. Although I did get some weird glares from strangers because, look at me, I am wearing two fitness bands at once like some comic book villain. Now, the Galaxy Fit 3 does have a couple of quality of life wins over the Huawei Band 11's design, like how I can customize its button to open an app shortcut. It also has a proper IP68 dust and water resistant build compared to just 5 ATM water resistance on the Huawei Band 11. And I love that we get a premium metallic case on the Galaxy Fit 3 versus how I need to pay extra for that very privilege on this guy. But honestly, I don't think these things matter all that much because, as I said before, they both look great to the eyes and feel great to wear. Which is why I am calling this round a tie. That brings me to their display, and if I remember correctly, this was the one thing I did not like about last year's Huawei Band 10. It was quite narrow in size, it felt sluggish to use, and the Galaxy Fit 3 simply had the better screen out of the two. This year, however, Huawei is back with a vengeance and I absolutely love it. The Huawei Band 11 now has a similar 1.6 inches AMOLED panel as the Fit 3, and it also refreshes at a smooth 60 Hz. These two upgrades were more than enough to put a smile on my face, but there's a lot more to this screen actually.
Let's put a smile on that face.
Damn it, Creed.
Look at their bezels. Did you notice something? Did you notice the thick asymmetric bezels on Samsung instead of a nice symmetric look on Huawei? The Band 11 screen gets considerably brighter outdoors as well, and I also feel like Huawei's graphics team put some real thought and effort into designing the watch faces for this thing. There's even a little power level indicator to let me know if the watch face I have selected is power efficient or battery hungry. How thoughtful is that? Whereas I am just not a fan of all of the options that Samsung gives me. I know this is an entirely subjective opinion, but I am more than happy sliding with the Huawei Band 11 as far as the display is concerned. Next up is software, and for the most part, I feel like these two represent the very best software experience you could find on a fitness band. Wait, not just fitness bands, but it's much better than like 99% of budget smartwatches as well. So the Huawei Band 11 runs on Huawei's custom Harmony OS 6.0 platform, while the Galaxy Fit 3 is built on the open source free RTOS software instead, with some light paint job to make it look like Samsung's more premium Wear OS smartwatches. Now, getting around the UI on both of them feels perfectly intuitive. They both have a basic layout in terms of the widgets, app menu, notification page, and more, but the way Samsung's user interface feels multi-dimensional in some ways is really impressive to me. Here's what I mean. So right now I started a workout on both of these, and let's say in the middle of my workout I want to check the weather for things like UV index or humidity, or I want to check my calendar events. What's great about the Galaxy Fit 3 is that unlike the Huawei Band 11 that doesn't let me launch anything else without first ending my workout, here I can simply minimize the workout. I know it sounds like such a small thing, but it really makes a difference. Then there are all the little things that I've grown fond of about the Galaxy Fit 3 software. Like I can add more widgets on the home screen to access them quicker. And look, it can load the album art to the song I'm listening to as well. The Galaxy Fit 3 even supports fall detection and SOS messaging in case I need to get in touch with my emergency contact, which can actually be a life-saving feature. I still wish Samsung were a little inspired by Huawei with things like system animations, but the Galaxy Fit 3 definitely offers a richer software experience. Even if you check out their companion apps, I think Samsung has done a relatively better job at taking all of my health data, turning them into meaningful insights so I can take proper actions and organizing everything in a way that is easy to understand. I am certainly not saying that the Huawei Health app is cluttered or anything. It's just that if you're new to health tracking and stuff, this can feel a bit overwhelming to get used to. Let's look at their home screen, for example, where we can see how Samsung eases us with a nice, clean UI without overcomplicating anything. Compare that to Huawei, the whole thing can feel overcrowded with everything Huawei throws at you. Now, before I talk about their health and fitness tracking, I want to quickly talk about their battery life. And I say quickly because the Huawei Band 11 is an easy winner here. I had set both of them to log my heart rate, my stress, my SpO2 level as often as possible. And while the Huawei Band 11 lasted me 10 full days, I had to reach for the Galaxy Fit 3's charger in less than a week. Plus, the Huawei Band 11 can go from 0 to 100% in about 45 minutes as compared to how I need to wait roughly half an hour more for the Fit 3 to fill up. Finally, it's time to talk about the main event of today's video. So, in terms of health monitoring, I found both the Huawei Band 11 and the Galaxy Fit 3 doing a similar enough job. What I mean is, I was getting almost identical readings from these two in all of the fundamental categories like heart rate, blood oxygen level, and sleep. Plus, unlike how most budget smartwatches leave you with just raw data, Huawei and Samsung do such a good job at converting the data into actionable insights that I can adopt to actually improve my health. The Huawei Band 11 is considerably more in-depth about these insights, and it also supports a few useful health features like keeping a log of my emotional states throughout the day and heart rate variability, aka HRV, which tells me how my body adapts and recovers to stress when I'm sleeping. It's even supposed to detect if I show signs of breathing difficulty during my sleep, but Huawei says that's coming later on with an OTA update. I couldn't test the pulse wave arrhythmia analysis feature, which is supposed to spot irregular heartbeat rhythms either, since this one's straight up not supported in South Asia. However, where things get truly fascinating is in the fitness tracking department, because the Huawei Band 11 stands out with a couple of stuff you're not going to find on the Samsung camp. Like how I can directly broadcast my heart rate to other devices like gym equipment or bike computers for real-time monitoring, or if you like recording and sharing your workouts on Strava, this thing now lets you include your heart rate as well. I also love that Huawei did not forget about accessibility, since the Band 11 has a dedicated wheelchair mode, which is actually commendable. And once again, it seems that Samsung has fixed the previous complaints that I had with fitness tracking on the Galaxy Fit 3, because it no longer over-records the amount of calories I burned during my workout, as you can see in this 30-minute workout I recorded. The Band 11 and the Galaxy Fit 3's heart rate reading is the exact same, although since the Band 11 cannot automatically pause my workouts, its workout duration reading is slightly off. But one thing I was not expecting at all was how differently these two recorded my walking pace. So I mapped out the exact route I took using Google Maps to measure the distance I covered in order to verify which one of them was correct, and guess what? Samsung was absolutely spot on here. Now remember that mystery fitness band I mentioned at the very beginning? That's the Huawei Band 11 Pro. It has a slightly sharper design, a brighter display, and more importantly, a built-in GPS for distance tracking, unlike the regular Band 11. So I compared the same thing between them, and once again, I found that Band 11's distance estimation is inaccurate. All this is to say that if you're an aspiring athlete, especially a runner, then you are going to get more reliable data about how fast you run, aka pace, with the Galaxy Fit 3. I'm sure Huawei can easily patch this a little hiccup with a couple of updates. So considering just how versatile the Band 11 is when it comes to monitoring your health and keeping track of your workouts, I have to say the final round goes to Huawei as well. Alright, so with everything covered, let's take one final look at the scoreboard. And as you can see, Samsung only takes the win in software. In every other category, the Huawei Band 11 comes out on top. Just like Huawei's previous budget smartwatches, the Band 11 is another excellent fitness band that I can easily recommend to almost anyone. Now, don't get me wrong, the Galaxy Fit 3 is still a very good fitness tracker. In fact, it is better than most budget smartwatches available at this price. But compared to Huawei's latest band, the Fit 3 simply feels a little outdated. Hopefully, Samsung brings some major upgrades with the upcoming Galaxy Fit 4, which is expected in the next couple of months. But for now, the Huawei Band 11 is the real deal. Alright everyone, that was all for this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And while you're there, a subscription to the channel would be great. Saying this, I'm Pratima and thank you so much for watching. 10 minutes on average, which is what the Fit 3 recorded. Fit 3, I know you. 3 recorded while the